In this episode, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic about the top 15 bankable investment opportunities in Ghana right now. And this is like the latest of the latest, top 15. And where did we get that from? Recently, the president of Ghana embarked on a dual country visit. The first one was to Japan to attend the what's the name of it? TICAD 9. That is the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, the ninth edition. And as part of that event, they organized the Presidential Investment Forum in Japan, where the president and his team had the opportunity to share on some of the best or the top investment opportunities that he would beckon investors to rush in to kind of take advantage of, basically. And right on the back of that, he also left to Singapore for these kind of bilateral meetings. But he also had some kind of a side meeting, which was the Ghana-Singapore Business Dialogue. And I'm just going to unpack between these two events the top 15 bankable investment opportunities that have the backing of government. That's kind of interwoven with a lot of government incentives to de-risk any such investment in Ghana. And some of them are exciting, others are mind-blowing. And let's start. But even before we do that, we, for the first time, are giving our audience the chance to use AfricaInsights.ai for free, right? So, and AfricaInsights.ai is basically a data analysis or market insights platform for the entire continent of Africa. So think about it, it's like a Bloomberg or CB Insights combined, just that the subject is Africa. So for those who want to make wise investment moves or data-driven investment or business decisions, or want to make research about which markets to enter, which markets not to enter, so things like economic indicators that would are scattered literally everywhere. This platform puts them beautifully together in a cohesive, cohesive way, so that you can make comparative decisions. You can see data side by side in graphical format, in comparative way. You want to see the investment climate of one country compared to another, you have that. You want to see market sentiments from one country to another, with AfricaInsights.ai, you can do that. You want to see which country imports what and from where, which country exports what. All that information is available. You want to find what the regulatory environment is like for any of the 54 countries is available. AfricaInsights.ai, and we're making it free. So you can grab, it doesn't cost you anything to start. If you later on you want to upgrade to bigger and better, plans, you can. But you can at least get your feet wet with the kind of data enrichment as it pertains to the continent. Number two, we also have a report that we are also giving away for free. The Africa Market Entry Checklist report. It's a 14-page report that gives you all the information you need to make a frictionless market entry into Africa or any African country at all. So it's a 14-page detailed checklist report for effective market entry. If you want any of these, use the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description below this video, and we are good to go. So let's begin. We're going to unpack 15 bankable investment opportunities as they pertain to Ghana right now. And let's go. All right. So the first one has to do with palm oil. Palm oil is a great investment opportunity. I never knew this. I knew cocoa and other commodities are great investment, but I didn't know much about palm oil until I got to know about this at that event, right? So what happens is that Ghana consumes, actually, Ghana consumes like a total about 300,000 tons of palm oil every year. Of that, Ghana imports 250,000 tons of palm oil each year. Let us sink in. Ghana imports 250,000 tons of palm oil every year. At that rate, and at the same time, Ghana only produces 50,000 tons of palm oil annually. This blew me away. So there's a massive gap of 250,000 tons per year that needs to be filled. That needs to be import substituted. That when investors or farmers plug that gap, there wouldn't be the need to convert the local currency to US dollars or euros or any other currency to import palm oil. No need. So to help this, the government is putting a plan together that you as an investor can take advantage of. They're opening up 50,000 hectares of land, farmland, available for cultivation of the palm fruit, palm nut fruit. There's 50,000 hectares of land. On top of that, the government is also making available 1.5 million seedlings so investors can grow. And this comprises the entire value chain of the palm tree or the palm fruit. That is producing the raw palm fruit, but also taking that palm fruit, smashing it, turning into oil, that entire value chain, all the way to where even the things that they throw away, right? The kernel, the shells, can also be used for bioenergy. So the entire value chain, government is interested, and there's a ton of incentives available for willing and daring investors like you. So let's move on to the next investment opportunity. Next investment opportunity is also very exciting. So this has to do with the northern part of Ghana. So this opportunity is called the 20,000 hectare irrigated agro zone in the northern part of Ghana. Why the northern part of Ghana? Northern part of Ghana boasts of innumerable, it's just unending farmland or arable land. The only problem is that their rainy seasons are shorter. So the land typically is drier. But that is a great belt for cultivation of staples like rice, maize, and soy, which are staples in every home in Ghana, particularly in West Africa and even beyond, right? Things like rice, maize, soy is something that every African country consumes. And with that also, that area to the rice, the maize, the soy, Ghana is also a net importer of maize, a net importer of soy, a net importer of rice. So the government is looking for opportunities to be able to minimize the rate at which its citizens import these kind of commodities into the country. So to help make this happen is that they want to help farmers to grow or to plant larger plantations. And for that to happen, irrigation is key, particularly in northern Ghana. Irrigation is key. So they're looking for investors who would come into like lease, rent, things like solar pumps and precision irrigation models or tools to help grow particularly these three staples, right? And so if you are an organization or you are somebody who knows about this area, about high precision irrigation, solar powered water pumps, that can be used as a system to augment what the farmers are locally doing to actually expand or increase their output, Ghana is your destination. And practically, what you're seeing in Ghana it's applicable probably everywhere in sub-Saharan Africa. The needs are very, very similar. The needs are very similar. Just that the only difference is that sometimes there are active government incentives for certain investment vehicles in one country than another. That is what you may have to check. But the needs are very similar. So what applies in Ghana would apply to Nigeria, would apply to many other countries with very little nuances here and there. So that is it. And then the cool thing is that when farmers grow these kind of staples at scale, there are guaranteed off-takers available. There are industries that rely on that actually import these items, like feed farms and those kind of things, edible oil companies and things. They import all these things in tens of thousands of tons every year. So what's happening is that most of these staples, they are guaranteed offtake agreement. That means that once the product is done, you don't even have to go and market it. They are buyers already, and that can be arranged with the Ghana Export Promotion Authority that manages these kind of offtake agreements and stuff. So for most investors, the main thing is getting involved to be able to produce at scale. The government wants to irrigate 20,000 hectares of land for people who would want to participate, or organizations that would want to participate in helping to irrigate the farmlands in the northern part of the country. Let's move to number 3. Number 3 is cashew, shea, and cocoa clusters. So for many African countries, the reason why most sub-Saharan countries are poor is because they produce something, right? Whatever they produce, typically they produce them or mine them and then ship the raw produce out as exports. But research upon research has shown that the countries that at least add value to their raw export, at least to a level 1 value addition, sometimes they earn 3 times or 4 times what they would have earned if they had shipped the raw good or the raw commodity. And that's what keeps most developing countries poor. The value addition bit is missing. So now people are starting to wake up, right? So for instance, there are countries like Ivory Coast that exports a lot of raw cocoa beans. Now that is slowing down. Now Ivory Coast has started processing raw cocoa beans into cocoa liquor, right? And they've attracted a lot of foreign direct investment in that area to be able to turn raw beans into cocoa liquor. That brings them at least 3 times the revenue for the raw export. Ghana wants to do something very similar for these 3 crops. That's cashew, shea, and cocoa. So that Ghana wants investors to come in to establish factories that will process these raw inputs into at least first line value addition before they are exported. So, and the emphasis is on 2 main regions that predominantly produce these crops. That is the Bono region and then the Ashanti region. So that if you are interested in that region and you have the wherewithal to be able to put together a factory that would be able to process cocoa and shea and cashew, then there's a government incentive. You may have to reach out to Ghana Export Promotion, the authority that handles export promotion. They'll give you more information on that. So that is that for number 3. Let's look at number 4. Number 4 is cold chain and perishable cargo village. So what happens is that this is a great opportunity. So most goods from the farm, from between the farm to market, because sometimes the roads are bad and it takes a while, and there's humidity, there's heat, there's all these kind of climatic factors and stuff. Sometimes goods perish along the path where they are being transported from their harvest to their final destination to be distributed. Sometimes to the tune of 40%, even sometimes 50% for, let's say, crops like vegetables and stuff like tomatoes and stuff, they perish. So to plug that gap, the country needs temperature controlled pack houses, particularly at the 3 major airports, that is the Tamale, Kumasi, and Accra airports. They're looking for investors to put together like cold chain hubs or cold storage facilities within those kind of airports, so that when the goods are, let's say in the northern Ghana, they pick them from the farm, they can transport them in a cold truck to the airport in Tamale and then store them at the airport in Tamale. And that airport in Tamale has a cold storage facility that will be able to house these things. So they're looking for investors, also backed by government incentives, who would want to take part or partake in this cold chain infrastructure. Okay, that is number 4. Let's look at number 5. Number 5, very powerful. I was very, very excited to hear about this. So Ghana has a very large river body, or the largest river body in Ghana is called the Volta Lake, the Volta River or the Volta Lake. So that stretches from the southeast part of the country to the north, the northeastern part of the country. It basically almost cuts across the entire length and breadth of the country, left by a few thousand maybe kilometers. So the government sees that as a great opportunity for to build a great logistics hub around that, and also a farming hub around that, a tourism hub around that, an industrial hub around that. So the government come up with what they call the 3 SPVs, 3 special purpose vehicles, to spur economic growth along the Volta corridor. Okay, so the first one is water transport on the lake. Right now, if goods come from the port, like the Tema port, and it's supposed to go up north, typically they use roads, and the roads are bad. From large sections of that stretch, it's bad. There's no proper rail network that can take things from the port to the hinterland of the country. That area, the Volta corridor, could be a very effective means of water transport, goods and services, and tourism. Then the next leg of the 3 SPVs, or special purpose vehicles, agroecological or tourism sites. So the government is looking for investors to come in to create you basically use the land that surrounds the lake as farming communities or mega farming areas, spurred by the fact that the Volta Lake could be used to irrigate those lands. And the government is looking to unlock 2 million hectares of land along the corridor of the Volta Lake, which is going to be mega, right? And then in that mix too, that opens the door, that opens the opportunity for tourism, where people can take their families, go and see large-scale plantations and see how fishing is done, boating, and all those kind of things. So you're looking for things that are ecologically, things that people can go and witness, like nature and ecology. There was a time my family and I went to hot springs in Arkansas, and it was amazing seeing the ecology, and the number of tourists that stream into that part of town every year is amazing. Why? Because they have a lot of ecology, where hot water literally spews out of the ground on its own. Hot water, nobody's doing it, and it's natural, and it attracts a lot of tourists. I could bet there will be such, maybe not hot springs, but there may be other things like waterfalls and many other things along the Volta corridor that would attract a lot of tourists. So thinking of hotels and restaurants and what have you, so many. Then the last one is the industrial parks. So government has already identified 20 project sites for industrial parks. That is places for warehousing, factories and manufacturing and packaging centers, so that as the 2 million hectares are producing, like the cocoa, the cashew, the tomato, the different type of farm produce, those are processed at these industrial parks, and then processed, packaged, and once the package is completed, they ship them on containers via the Volta Lake all the way to the ports to be exported. That is the vision. That's the vision, my friend. So now let's go to investment opportunity number 6. That is industrial parks plus utility services concessions. So basically, there are two major industrial parks in Ghana. That is the Tema Industrial Park and the newer one called Dawa Industrial Park. It's newer relatively to the Tema one, but the government wants to expand it. It's looking for investors in that area to expand industrial parks and also operate these kind of shared services like warehousing, packaging, consumer goods. And all these industrial parks are also going to be powered by sustainable energy or sustainable, some kind of solar or some kind of environmentally friendly energy system to power these kind of industries. So the government is looking for investors to move in this place. I know this is happening quite a bit within the West African enclave, particularly powered by companies like Arise IIP, doing similar things in other parts like Guinea and I think Cameroon and Nigeria as well. They are building large industrial parks and having funding and blended finance from Afrexim Bank and Africa Development Bank. All those kind of facilities are available. Check with Ghana Investment Promotion Center. They would have all that you need. But this is what they said at that meeting, that they are looking for investors to come in to expand existing industrial parks. Right. This is very interesting. Number 7. So number 7 is pharmaceutical manufacturing as an investment opportunity. So if this is your area, Ghana is your destination. So what the government seeks to do is that, now I've done a video like this in the past where I shared, I've had a closer affinity to the healthcare industry for a while. I used to work in healthcare supply chain, it's in Dallas, Texas for many years. So I kind of have an affinity for that area a bit, and one of the things that I always keep saying is that healthcare for most African countries. So we actually, if you look at the on AfricaInsights.ai, go to AfricaInsights.ai and you search imports. There's a tool called the Imports Finder. The Import Finder, you will realize that, and you put in pharmaceutical, you realize that literally 99.9% of every country in Africa imports net importers of pharmaceuticals. 99% net importers. And it's huge. It's a huge market. But therein lies I would say, continental security risk, like it happened during the COVID time, where vaccines became like the next gold rush. Other countries, developed countries, had to be served before the trickle started making their way on the continent. That is a continental security risk. And I believe the decision makers and authorities have seen that. Now, that's a potential deadly trap. We were blessed in the sense that the COVID did not hit the continent as much as it did devastate other places. We thank God for that. But we need to be prepared. So I believe Ghana is seeing it that way. Plus the fact that the reason why Ghana exclusively is trying to do that is also Ghana is a very respected country within the subcontinent, particularly in West Africa. Ghana is very respected. Ghana is a country that enjoys a lot more trust, quote unquote, than many other of its neighbors when it comes to production. So Ghana wants to create a farmer hub to take advantage of that, and I think it's a fantastic move if Ghana can pull it off, together in partnership with the private sector and the investor community. So what's the plan? The plan is to build an active ingredient plant or cluster around the Legon area. Legon is where University of Ghana is like the top research, one of the top research institutions in the country is the Legon area, right? So they want to build a cluster there to create a capacity to manufacture active ingredients for pharmaceuticals. And then also another cluster is going to be around the Tema area, where they will focus more on generics and sterile fill finish products. So that will be in the Tema area. And the government is also looking to revamp its whole Food and Drug Authority kind of the authorization yes, basically the authorization body for pharmaceuticals, or the body that validates pharmaceutical manufacturing or pharmaceutical goods within the country. They're trying to revamp it all together to make it investor friendly. So if you're into pharma, that's a great one. Number 8, automotive and e-mobility assembly, components, and charging. What it's about is there are a lot of OEMs that have entered Ghana as I speak with you. Toyota is in Ghana. I think Nissan, VW is in Ghana. And a slew of Chinese auto companies are in Ghana. There are a lot of assembly plants in Ghana already. What the government wants to bring in more investors to grow this area, particularly in the area of commercial vehicle assembly. That is making components for the assembling of those kind of buses and transit vehicles, charging networks, creating charging networks, smart ticketing, fleet software, and a whole host. So that entire value chain is up for grabs in terms of investment, and is backed by a lot of government incentives as well. So watch out for that area. The next one is, this is also very interesting as a tech person. I just enjoy tech. All my businesses have been in tech. So I enjoy this area. Think of it this way. When you sign up for services like Netflix or even YouTube, most of these companies are based in North America or Europe. There are a few others that are outside North America and Europe, like Canva is in Australia, and there are some others. There are a few ones. But the major ones are typically in North America and Europe. So what happens is that when their servers are located in their home countries and you are 6,000 miles away from their home countries, when they are delivering content, you could see that it would buffer, right? We call that latency. So you were watching the video, and then all of a sudden the video starts just buffering like that. It is very, very annoying. So what they've done is that most of these big high-tech companies have signed contracts with local data centers that powers their servers, so that when they are serving video YouTube to you and you're in your village, the video will load very fast. That's very low latency, very, very fast. Your what do you call it? Your Facebook feed, your WhatsApp, everything will work almost seamlessly. That doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's because the service delivery is being delivered from a data center that is quite near. So that's a big business. So, and not only them, banks need that. Fintech companies need that. Can you imagine a company that's trading stocks and then their servers lack? That they won't do well. And then cloud computing and all those kind of things, they need servers that are closer to where their customers are. So Ghana is in need of a tier 3 or tier 4 data center with a capacity of between 15 to 20 megawatts near Accra. That is an investment opportunity now. That if you are into that area, make your way to Ghana, and then the government will provide you the support. And then you provide you whatever you need to be able to unlock this investment opportunity. Let's look at investment opportunity number 10, which is closely aligned even with the investment opportunity number 9, which is the data center. All these data centers are going to be powered by renewable energy. That is large, giant solar infrastructure, solar and battery storage infrastructure. The government needs to build 200 megawatt solar plant and battery system in the northern part of the country to augment the national grid. And this power system is going to cost anywhere between, I think, about 3.5 billion US dollars, and it needs to be constructed within the next 5 years. Investors can join to participate in this. The cool thing about this is that Immediately this plant is done, government is going to move all schools, colleges, hospitals onto this newer, greener energy grid to provide cheaper and greener power for every major school, every major hospital or health facility in the country. And that is amazing. Let's look at number 11. Number 11 is very simple. With all that is going on, the ports and the shipyards and the cargo centers need expansion. So government is looking for investors that would come in to work with the port expansion projects, inland rail systems, particularly the Tema Shipyard, the Tema Shipyard Partnership for Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Services. That is an investment opportunity, hot one. The Kotoka Cargo Village. The Kotoka Cargo Village Kotoka is the airport. So the Kotoka Airport, actually, the cargo village. There's a cargo center adjoined to the Kotoka Airport. You know, we have the commercial planes and then the cargo planes. So that area needs modern air cargo terminal with a cold chain and e-freight system. So if you are into that, Ghana is open to you with government-backed incentives. I like that one. Okay, so the number 12 is urban mobility. That is, Accra is a congested city. Like many West African cities, right? They're congested. So, you know, it's one of the hardest things is you can't really have a productive, like moving from, let's say you want to make a sales call, or you have to drive from one point to another part of the city, then you go and visit maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 clients in a day. It's almost impossible because of the gridlock. The city is gridlocked. So what the government wants to do is unlock that gridlock using mass mobility. The government is looking to inject with investor partners as well, anywhere between 150 to 180 million dollars, to create dedicated BRT lines, that is bus lanes, in major cities. In the major city centers in Accra, particularly to ease congestion. And I think it's a great idea. I think the next bit that you need to do is to think about rail network, that or some kind of a tram network for mass transit, so that city workers can park their cars at the outskirts of the city and use mass transit, like it happens in major European cities. I think Morocco has done something like that recently, where Morocco has done something like that. I've seen somewhere that also Ethiopia also, I think, is doing something similar with the ultra fast rail network. So this is the first step. So what the government wants to do is to create this kind of BRT lane. So anything the entire ecosystem in creating a BRT lane, software that powers that, and then also the government is looking to procure at least 200 e-buses, that is eco-friendly buses that do not use fossil fuels, to be able to decongest Accra, which is a great investment opportunity. Let's look at the next one. National Airline plus MICE Center. So the National Airline, the government is looking to partner, to create a partnership model to make national carrier work well, at least for once. Ghana used to have a national carrier and there's all sorts of problems. But there are other countries on the continent that are doing well with their national carriers, like Ethiopian Airlines, Kenyan Airways, and obviously South African Airways, at least, and then Rwanda Air as well. I know Rwanda is doing well. So these, so they are a couple. Royal Air Morocco also does well, but to me, Ethiopian Airlines is the number one benchmark. So I think Ghana wants to do something like that. At a minimum, it even advertises the country. As your plane are landing at JFK and London and Frankfurt and everywhere, it advertises your country. So I believe that is a move that the government is looking to buy. It's looking to partner with other people to get that done. So if you are in the aviation space and you can make that happen, Ghana is a great destination. They're hungry. They're looking for people to partner. Number two, Ghana government is also looking at the MICE industry. That industry is becoming huge. The MICE industry is basically the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions industry. Destinations like Dubai, they are hot for conferences and exhibitions. Las Vegas, Miami, Washington, D.C., London, Shanghai, China, they are noted for mega conferences, even Qatar as well. Mega conferences. Why not Africa? Or why not Ghana? There are other African conference hotspots like Johannesburg, Cape Town, Cairo. I attended one 2 years ago and I was blown away by the infrastructure they had within Cairo itself. The Egypt International Convention Center is world class. Something like that could boost tourist revenue. It could boost a lot. It could feed into the hotel industry, the restaurant industry, the dining, also the entire ecosystem around conferencing is big time. Because when people come and are attending conferences, typically they are sponsored by their countries or their companies or organizations. And they have larger disposable incomes to come spend in their country. So they're looking to create a multi-use international convention center in Accra. And if you are into that, welcome to Ghana. All right. So let's look at the last but one opportunity. That is opportunity number 40. Tourism and culture as an opportunity. So the government is looking to create what they call the Marine Drive along the coast of the capital city, Accra, to make it a mega tourist attraction. I think coming off from the backdrop of the year of return, a lot of diasporans are actually even starting to invest in this area, like high-rise apartments and all these kind of things along the coastal belt, because that place has traditionally been highly underdeveloped. So when you look at other cities, for instance, there was used to live in the UK for a while. So the city of Blackpool is basically a beach town where their number one revenue comes from tourism. Why? Blackpool has a very nice beach with massive tourist attraction. The same with places like Miami has massive tourist attraction. Why? Because of great beaches. So Accra wants to create the blaster experience by retrofitting its coastal line called the Marine Drive. So that's an investment opportunity that you can link up with government officials to give you more details about. Then the last but not the least, and before okay, let's go on. So last but not the least is critical minerals value add. Critical minerals value add is very, very, very simply, to me, the crust of the opportunity in not only Ghana, but on the continent. What happens? I said it earlier. Most developing countries, what they go through is that they produce raw materials. Okay, they come up with raw materials, and then with that raw materials, they just ship the raw materials to sell it for export, and it doesn't really. Yes, it brings something, but they're leaving a ton of money on the table. A ton of money on the table. But now their eyes are opening. So most countries are going the value added way. So they are critical minerals, and in Ghana's case, is bauxite. Ghana is very, very rich with bauxite, and bauxite is a product that is used to make aluminium, and aluminium is used in a whole slew of applications all over, and that is a big potential revenue generating platform or revenue generating mineral for the nation of Ghana. They're looking to create infrastructure, factories that will be able to process raw bauxite into alumina, at least first stage of production. That is turning the raw rocks into aluminum, right? And also, not only that, they're also looking for opportunity to turn to at least first stage processed gold, lithium, and manganese. And I've done a video already on lithium. Lithium is a hot cake now because the world is moving away from fossil fuel vehicles to electric vehicles. It's coming. Within the next 5 maximum 10 years, there will be more electric vehicles than fossil, than diesel and petrol engine vehicles on the planet. Period. But the major component for electric vehicles is the batteries. But the major component for making those kind of electric vehicle batteries is lithium. And lithium is a rich deposit that can be found in many places in Africa, particularly places like, I think, Zimbabwe, Mali, Guinea, and a few other places has that. And it's being discovered very rapidly these days. You're discovering lithium deposits plenty of places, right? So what they don't want to do, and most of these lithium batteries are manufactured in Asia, particularly China. China is the world leader in lithium processing, lithium manufacturing. And that's where the term rare earth minerals came from, because these ones, bauxite, graphite, lithium, manganese, they are all rare earth metals. So when you hear rare earth is a very common thing these days, it's these, because it's now become, lithium is now almost becoming the next gold or diamond. So countries do not want to ship raw lithium rocks outside. They want to at least process it so that at least they can earn 3 or 4 times the income or the revenue back for the country, to create more jobs, to create more sustained jobs, and to grow their economies. So if you are an investor, the opportunity, particularly right now in Ghana, for bauxite production, where you come in, you invest in a plant that makes bauxite, and these bauxite, they have offtake agreement internationally. So it's like there are buyers already depositing money for the output. This is a great move also. So if you haven't locked in your place or downloaded our free report, our 14 days market entry, African market entry report, this is your chance. Use the QR code on the screen to get that free report. It's free, costs you nothing. Number 2, we're also adding on top, you're going to get a free version of AfricaInsights.ai. Literally, a combination of Bloomberg Terminal and CD Insights for investment analysis, country by country analysis. Is next to nothing out. It's amazing. Literally, Bloomberg, CD Insights combined for the continent of Africa, and you can just try your hands on it. So once you scan the QR code or you use the link, you can get it. You get access to it. And if you want to upgrade at some point, you can. At least for most people, you can use the free version to do many things. Without much ado, I hope to see you in my next episode. Thanks. And then if you have experience in any of these opportunities that I've shared, feel free to share your comments, your ideas, and your experiences so that others can also learn from it. All right. Peace to you.